I'd like to welcome everyone to the American Institute of Chemical Engineers May meeting. Thank you all for being here. This is a phenomenal crowd, and it's a real pleasure to have everyone here today. And again, I wish everybody a happy, as they say, Star Wars Day, which it is. May the 4th be with you. And so the agenda we generally keep to here is that we just finished up our workshops, and of course we're nearing the end of our dinner, and then you'll be elegantly provided announcements by me, so I'll try to keep you awake. And then we'll have a brief intermission, and then we'll start with our featured speaker. And we should end around 9:30 is generally the way we do this. Again, I always want to recognize the people that make me look so good, and that's a really hard job to do. And that is the executive board of the AIChE STS local section. This has got to be, and I've been involved in AIChE since 1987, so this has got to be one of the best group of volunteers I've ever worked with in the section activities and what they do for AIChE. So I would ask them, please, the executive board, to stand up, and some are already standing. Stand up and be recognized, and let's express our appreciation for all the great things they do. Thank you. And again, the mission of our section is basically to reach out to our membership through our dinner meetings, through the workshops like the one we had here today, our conferences that we hold like the one in October for the Southwest Process Technology Conference, the networking events, which you'll hear about a little later on. And of course, tonight, you're going to hear a lot about our outreach to the colleges and to the high schools through our science fair winners and our college scholarship awardees tonight. So we'll be doing a lot of that. That's why I wanted to kind of get started early, because we've got a lot of program to get through before we get to our speaker. And of course, our K through 12 outreach. So again, we do our best in this local section, which is, I must tell you, is the largest local section in AIChE. AIChE has 50,000 members, and the local section's around 1,100 members. So again, the largest section in the U.S. for AIChE. And of course, we would love to have each and every one of you, if you already are not a member of either the local section or AIChE, to join. Being here for dinner, of course, one of the quote-unquote stipulations is at least you are a local section member. And you can be a local section member for 2 years before joining national. So I encourage you to join the local section, or if you like, become a national member of AIChE. But again, you can contact me afterwards, and I'll give you some instructions on how to do that. But again, I encourage you to either be a local section member or a national member of AIChE. Of course, tonight's dinner speaker is Raul Roman from PSM, a PSM consultant for Providence Consulting. He'll talk about good engineering practice for emergency relief design. And I'm also very proud to say that Providence Consulting is a bronze sponsor tonight. And I'd like to at least have everyone express their appreciation for their sponsorship. They will be speaking a little later on, as I allow all of our sponsors to do a 60 seconds of a shameless plug for their company, which they'll do just before our break today. Our next event is always a local section favorite, and I guess you really have to be a chemical engineer to enjoy this tour, because every time I tell my wife, guess what, we're doing another Ship Channel tour, she always gives me that dreaded look. But again, it is a great tour. This will be June the 3rd. We'll be taking our annual tour of the Houston Ship Channel, and this is all thanks to Dennis Griffith for all that he does for the local section. He sets this up every year, along with the barbecue. This is a great event. If you're a chemical engineer, you get to see chemical plants from the Ship Channel side instead of the 225 side. So I mean, there's a real treat for those of you who are interested. And again, I encourage you to join us. And this announcement will be going out soon on our website. And again, I thank Dennis for setting this all up for us for June 3rd. Again, a great event if you're a chemical engineer. If you're not, you can go along for the ride. We did have one workshop here tonight. Unfortunately, one of our presenters was ill and could not be here, but I will thank Mr. Meng for providing a workshop for us tonight, combined heat and power for critical infrastructure, security and resilience, and energy savings. Appreciate that. And also, I want to thank Sanjay Sharma, who is not here tonight, who is our workshop coordinator, for setting all that up. We do have workshops at most meetings. We do have workshops here again when we're back in September. For those who need PDH, that's that little typo. For those who need PDH certificates or PhDs, we'll make you a PhD tonight, right here and now. I can tell you about other mistakes I've made, but I'd rather not. We do provide PDH certificates for those who need them for their certification, for their professional engineering certification. If you do need one, please provide your card at the front desk, at the registration table, and we will get you a PDH certificate for your certification, especially in the state of Texas, which is required. Again, I mentioned our meetings. This is the last dinner meeting for the first half of the year. Our next meeting is June 3rd, our annual Ship Channel Tour. We are back here again on September 7th, where Tom Rem will talk to us about process safety. We're looking forward to that. And then on October 12th and 13th is our big event. It's the Southwest Process Technology Conference, which is held at Moody Gardens down in Galveston. I do encourage you to look into that. Our guest speaker, and I have to preface this by saying that one of my hobbies is trains, and I was given the job of coming up with the guest speaker for the dinner portion of that conference. And so I invited the Texas Rail Company to join us, and they'll be speaking about the bullet train that is proposed to go between Houston and Dallas, and they will be our dinner speaker. We like to have a little different topic than the heavy topics we normally cover during the conference. So again, a little lighter topic for all of us, and they'll be speaking on October the 12th. And then our last meeting of the year is November 9th, is at Brady's Landing, and that will be our annual water forum. And we're also going to hear from the Houston Subsidence District, and we're going to hear about how Houston is sinking. So I urge you all to attend. You might have to change your insurance policies after that. Also, as I said before, the Southwest Process Technology Conference is approaching. They still need a few good co-chairs and YP co-chairs for their sessions. If you are interested, contact Jace Matthews at KBR if you're interested in participating as a co-chair. If your company is interested in hosting an AIChE meeting, we are willing to listen. All you need is space for, well, again, tonight we're at about 135, so we had a great crowd, but generally we attract about 80 to 100. Space for workshops, provide some dinner catering, but if your company would like to host a meeting, and we've had that in the past, please contact me and I'd be more than happy to work with you on that. We are on YouTube. Most of our presentations are on YouTube, so you can look back in case you really have this hankering for a presentation made back in March. You just want to get it again and again and want to listen, so you can turn onto YouTube and find that. We have our own channel, the South Texas section of AIChE channel. As I said before, Province Consulting is a sponsor. We are always looking for sponsorships for our meetings. Sponsors reduce the price of dinner. That's one major thing which we all enjoy. And they also help us sponsor other events of the local section. So if your company is interested in a sponsorship, we are very willing to listen, and we certainly would really appreciate that opportunity to provide you that sponsorship. So again, if you're interested, see me. I won't go over the details. And so far in 2017, we've been very fortunate to have a group of sponsors that have sponsored our 5 meetings up till now. Of course, I mentioned that Province Consulting is our sponsor tonight. And of course, we've had several other sponsors during the year and look forward to maybe finishing up with a few more for September, October, and November. The other thing that's been a real success story this year is our season passes. We have a program in which you can pay just one price, and you get all your dinners for one price. This is a deal. And we've had 38 people. Eureka, is it still 38? It's 38, as she nods her head, yes. So 38 people have taken advantage of this. And the real beauty about a season pass is you don't have to register for meetings. You don't have to remember at the last moment, oh, that meeting's tomorrow night, and I didn't register. So again, we will offer this again for next year. Doesn't really make any economic sense for the remainder of this year. But for next year, we will offer this again. So you can pay just one price, $149 for all the dinner meetings for 1 year. This is a deal. Take it from me. I'm a season pass member. As you saw in the lobby, we have a system for badge stickers, and that is to help individuals who are either looking for work, those who want to be mentored, to kind of be able to sit at a table and someone recognize their sticker to say, hey, what is it that I can do for you? You know, what is it, open up a conversation about something that you may be interested in. So in case you want to avail yourself of badge stickers at future meetings, especially if you're looking for employment or you need a mentor and you want to have a question about your career, we have a lot of experienced people that sit around these tables. And they'd be more, and I know most of them would be more than happy to answer your questions. So that's why we have our badge sticker process. We do have a job opportunity that I was asked to mention. TLV Corporation is looking for a technical engineer here in Houston. They're looking for a candidate with an engineering degree and experience in working in the EPC, in piping or process engineering, in a technical sales role. I'd be more than happy to give you a contact after this meeting and send you the slide to contact this individual, but they asked me tonight to offer this opportunity for someone looking for work. So again, this is for TLV and a technical engineer working in the Houston area. All right, next is our education portion. Sanjay is not here. There's one more set of workshops in September here in this facility. And that is, the two workshops are maximizing process engineers' contribution to plant startup and how physical property accuracy saves you time and money. So they will be here in this venue in September, on September 7th. No, we don't need that anymore. All right, now for the large portion of our program, recognition and networking. I guess I'll start it off. We'll do the university scholarships first, and then we'll move on to our science fair winners, and then we'll move on to also recognizing our 50-year award members, our 50-year members. So first, and do I need any assistance up here for this? Yes, here comes Eureka. Good. Again, it is really the mission of this local section to recognize college students who have exemplary scholarship and also have contributed in a volunteer way to their universities. And we're really honored to honor 12 individuals from 4 universities in the Houston area who have exemplary scholarship and have volunteered to really be a standout at their college and in their community. So what I will do is I will read through their bios through each university, and we'll take it one by one. We'll start with Texas A&M University. And so the way this will work is I will read the bio, and I'll ask that individual to come up to the table to receive your scholarship award, and at least shake my hand, and you're done. All right? That's all I ask. It's not much. All right? It's not much. It's not. It's a good way to collect a nice little paycheck. All right? So yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Our first recipient from Texas A&M University, and I hope I get all the names right, Allison Mahood, is a chemical engineering student at Texas A&M University. She currently serves as the Vice President of Programs in Student Chapter, where she hosts general meetings and the department's award ceremony. She is also a member of the Maggie's Women's Organization. She helped host a 5K with Maggie's that raised over $16,000 for the New Horizons Children's Home. She also has spent time working in the Mission Reclaim Farm to Market Food Pantry, as well as participated in races for charities such as the Gladiator Dash and Running with a Purpose 5K. Finally, she participated in the Sunny Glens Children's Home mission trip with her church. Her work experiences include an internship at Toyota Engineering and Manufacturing, North America, where she spent the summer working with part failure tests and quality control audits. She has also had an internship with LyondellBasell, where she worked the 2016 turnaround. So it's my pleasure to bring up Allison Mahood. As they say in Hollywood, accepting for her tonight. Okay, thank you. But at least I want to recognize them. This way, if I mispronounce their names, they won't mind. Our next recipient from Texas A&M is Tasha. Okay, well, you can read it on the slide. I'm not going to embarrass myself. Tasha is a junior major in chemical engineering and minoring in business administration at Texas A&M University. She serves as director of the AIChE 2016 Sophomore Retreat, the premier networking event for incoming chemical engineering sophomores and professionals. The three-day event hosted 28 professionals and 57 sophomores in 2016. Tasha also serves as the public relations coordinator for Texas A&M Student Engineers Council. She is also an engineering student ambassador for the Texas A&M College of Engineering and an active member of the Indonesian Students Association, which hosts the annual Indonesian Festival for the Bryan College Station community. Tasha participates in undergraduate research and the department and is a peer teaching assistant for the Foundation of Engineering. She also volunteers as a middle school math tutor at A&M Consolidated Middle School. She's not here, but at least let's recognize Tasha for her achievements. The last one from Texas A&M is Caitlin Pearson. Caitlin is a class of 2018 student in the Chemical Engineering Department at Texas A&M University. She will be interning with Phillips 66 at the Alliance Refinery in New Orleans, Louisiana this upcoming summer. During the school year, Caitlin serves as the Vice President of Finance for Texas A&M Student Chapter of AIChE. Caitlin is also an active member of AIChE Community Student Service Committee. In addition to Texas A&M AIChE involvement, Caitlin volunteers at the A&M United Methodist Church, Coffee House Weekly, and plays French horn in the Hullabaloo Band for Texas A&M basketball. Let's recognize Caitlin. Next is Rice University. Are they all here? Which one? Okay, I'm getting lonely up here. Monique Hartmut. Monique is a junior chemical engineering student at Rice University, pursuing a concentration in energy and sustainability and a minor in business. She serves as the junior lead for Rice's Chemical Engineering Undergraduate Board, working with the Faculty Undergraduate Committee to improve the chemical engineering undergraduate education experience at Rice. She coordinated the Moran Eco Teen Program, a teen volunteer program at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, after having served as a volunteer herself for 4 years. She also supported the Exploration Summer Camps, helping plan and organize science activities in chemistry and natural history for children ages 6 through 12. Additionally, she participates in numerous service activities, including Rice's high school mentorship program aimed towards encouraging youth to pursue STEM-related degrees. So I will now call Monique up to receive her award. Congratulations. Yeah, at least shake my hand. Just do me a favor and shake my hand. You're good. That's more than my kids do. So I mean, next one is Lucia Pesara. Lucia Pesara is a graduating chemical and biomolecular engineer from Rice University. She served as co-president for the AIChE student chapter at the university for 2016 to 2017 academic year. Along with her co-president, she further developed a workshop series for students to connect with chemistry Chemie alums and prepare for the recruiting process. Lucia is an active member of her residential college and led a college-based service trip to Austin, Texas this past fall. She also served as a senior interviewer for Rice undergraduate admissions, as well as a student advisor for incoming students for the last 3 classes of undergraduates. Please let's recognize Lucia. I can pronounce the last one. Carolina Sampson. Caroline Sampson is a senior from Rice University. She entered into her college career first by becoming involved in her college, Jones College. She has volunteered on several committees, serving the college as well as new student advisor for incoming Rice students. Outside of these, she has volunteered as a dream mentor, which encourages high schoolers to take interest in STEM. She most recently served as co-president of Rice, AIChE chapter. As co-president, she helped plan events for the undergraduates, most importantly, the fall recruiting events, which included resume review and mock interviews with Rice alumni for the students. Please recognize Carolina. Next is Prairie View A&M. Are they here? Okay, all but the first one. Then we'll start with the second one. All right. Jalen Coleman. Jalen Coleman is a junior majoring in chemical engineering with a minor in mathematics at Prairie View A&M University. She is an active member of AIChE and serves as both the current social media chair and webmaster. We could use her. She is also an active member of the National Society of Black Engineers. Jalen serves as a student leader in PALS, Panther Advisor Leaders, who mentor incoming freshmen throughout the academic year. She has participated in numerous service activities, including Panther Land Day and PAW, Panthers at Work. It's like working for the government here, all acronyms. She also volunteers for High School Senior Day on campus, where the youth are given advice and tools to prepare for entering college. Please, let's recognize Jalen and have her come up and receive her award. Congratulations. All right, next is Jakari Jackson. Jakari Jackson is a junior chemical engineering major at Prairie View A&M University. He has multitude of campus activities, including the current president and former treasurer of Prairie View's AIChE student chapter. He is also an undergraduate research assistant through the Ellis AMP program, and is currently studying paracetamol granule formation. Jakari is part of the student chapter's mentor-mentee program, where he mentors 2 underclass chemical engineering students in activities such as class scheduling and engineering opportunities. Through the program, he wishes to spread the knowledge he obtained during his college career. For the last few years, Jakari has also participated in raising money for the Red Nose Foundation, which is an organization that helps raise money to help and end child poverty. So with that, let's bring Jakari up to receive his award. Thank you, buddy. Congratulations. All right. And Fidelis is not here, correct? Okay. Oh, he's the one? Okay. Our next one is Fidelis Shendi. He's not with us tonight. Fidelis Shendi is a junior majoring in chemical engineering at Prairie View A&M University. He is an active member of AIChE and will serve as the incoming vice president for the 2017-2018 year. Fidelis participates in several volunteer activities on campus, including middle school days, where he leads groups of middle schoolers in polymer experiments. He is also and has the great honor of serving his country as a member of the U.S. Navy. So that's why he is not here this evening, serving his country. So again, let's extend our congratulations to Fidelis for receiving this award. Benjamin's here. Ben, okay, Ben Perez. Okay. Benjamin Perez is a chemical engineering undergraduate at University of Houston. He is a member of both the UH chapter of AIChE and the UH chapter of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. He will be participating in nanoparticle research as part of U of H Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship Program. Ben serves as a member of the STS-AIChE University of Houston Outreach Committee, where he helps plan and participates in STEM-related outreach events. His volunteering experience also includes tree planting and assisting with a local wheelchair rugby event. Let's bring Benjamin up to receive his award. Oh, okay, got it. I'm good now. I'm good now. These acronyms are killing me. Sharon John is a junior in chemical and biomolecular engineering at the University of Houston. She is a member of Tau Beta Pi, Eta Epsilon Rho, Society of Women Engineers, and Houston Campus Ministry. I'm amazed she has time for her studies. Sharon participates in various service activities, including mentoring underclassmen in career and academic planning. She volunteers for Beacon Homeless Shelter, Habitat for Humanity, and Houston Food Bank. She also enjoys tutoring students in chemical process simulation courses and probably enjoys sleeping every now and then. So let's congratulate Sharon, who is not here tonight, for her award. I'm tired of reading the thing. You're going to have to help me with this one. Ong, thank you. Ong Hong is a third-year student in chemical engineering at the University of Houston. She also has a degree in finance and banking at the University of Economics in Ho Chi Minh City. She is a member of the STS-AIChE, where she plans fun events for students and faculty. She participates in several service activities for Houston's community. She volunteers for Beau's Place to help grieving children cope with their lives' events. She also volunteered at the Houston Food Bank to organize and sort out frozen food. So let's please congratulate her for her award. As you can see by all these candidates, their work is far beyond the classroom. They're so involved in activities both at their colleges and also in the community, which also is something that for our local section makes us proud to recognize their achievements. All right. So now we will bring up Tom Men. I will assist.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. We've extended the nominations deadline for the 2016 Best Papers Awards and the Outstanding Young Professional Award and 2016 Distinguished Service Award, that's over 36, and the Special Service Awards to May 15th. It may get extended again because of a hang-up in the Best Paper Awards. Okay, next one, we still got one to do.
I'm here to help.
Okay, get rid of it. We need another one. You got the OTC thing?
It's already up there. That's your next one, isn't it?
No,
Oh.
we're finished.
We're finished, okay. First Friday's next, Tom Rem.
Okay.
Okay. All right, now we'll bring up Tom Rem to talk about the First Friday program. Before we do, this First Friday program is something we started this year, first under Tom's direction, but certainly we have two volunteers, Deborah McCall, and we have another volunteer that is doing this work, and we want to recognize, as soon as I pull this out, Ming Chuan Lee, thank you, for her efforts in our First Friday program. We recognized Deborah at our last meeting, and we just want to really recognize Ming Chuan for all the work she's done helping this First Friday program, which Tom will speak about in a moment. So, Ming Chuan, would you please come up and shake my hand? All right, Tom, now you can come up. Yeah, that's what we do. Okay, I'll stand down here.
The program, First Friday, began last November, and two people appeared at our executive committee meeting, Ming Chuan Lee and Deborah McCall, and basically said, what are you guys doing about networking? And they became the leaders of that program. They've done a great job. They actually have speakers out through August now. And we're going to run through the summer, even though the section shuts down for the summer. Essentially, none of these sorts of meetings. We're going to have our May First Friday program tomorrow. Same location as usual at the Omni Hotel West Side. We subsidize every single person, whether you're looking for a job or whether you're from industry to network, $5 a person. And a chemical engineer, worked 20 years as an engineer, Terry Suffredini, is now in the business of helping engineers find positions. She calls herself the engineer's coach. And let's see. Yeah. We also are involved in Pay It Forward networking. Is Tom Donnelly here somewhere? Where are you, Tom? Ah, Tom. Okay. If anyone would like to host a plant tour at their facility for about 20 folks, contact Tom. That's one of the things Pay It Forward Networking does. Tom is our section's liaison with the Pay It Forward Networking. So you see the tours there. They do weekly training, and Tom has arranged some training from people associated with us within their program, and they have a mentoring program also. We continue to try to draw in more members. I'm not sure. Should we try to draw in more? We're at a capacity now, right? So when you receive an email about one of our activities, pass it on to chemical engineers who are not active. That's one method, and John Middleton does that at Worley Parsons. Doesn't take any training. But if you would like to do something beyond that, such as what Travis Fixmer has done at his company, and that is develop an intranet web page. Travis, are you here? I don't see anybody standing. Nope. Okay. Tonight we are privileged to honor 3 of our members for 50 years of AICHE membership. Now, let me get my notes. And these are your notes here, right? Yeah, that's fine. Michael Glasser received his bachelor's in chemical engineering at the City College of New York in 1967 and his master's at the City University of New York in 1972. His first position in industry was with M.W. Kellogg, now KBR, in New York City, where he was a heat transfer engineer. In 1971, he joined Dorr Oliver. He worked full-time while working part-time on his master's for those 5 years. In 1972, Michael joined Stone & Webster in New York City. His position was Fluid Systems Division Chief when Stone & Webster transferred him to Houston in 1983 as an assistant engineering manager. While working for Stone & Webster in Houston, he transferred into project management, which was his position in 2000 when Stone & Webster was bought by Shaw, becoming Shaw Stone & Webster. When Technip bought the company in 2013, Michael was a project manager. By the time Technip merged with FMC in January 2017, becoming Technip FMC, Michael had been promoted to Director of Project Management. Michael continues to work full-time at Technip FMC as the Director of Project Management. Michael has been a member of the South Texas section since moving here in 1983. He has one published paper, The Applicability of Inherently Safer Designs to Smaller Facilities, presented at the 1988 AICHE Summer National Meeting. Significant projects in Michael's career include project manager for a Shanghai petrochemical company expansion and revamp of the recovery section of a 400,000 metric ton per year ethylene plant. This was the first project of many in China. Project manager for 2 800 kiloton per year ethylene plants for PetroChina in Chengdu, Sichuan province. And project manager for Showa Denko KK plant furnace addition, which began a long relationship with JGC. Michael and wife Ann have 2 children and 5 grandchildren. They enjoy traveling, particularly back to New York to visit family. Michael, congratulations on achieving 50 years of AICHE membership. Mike Bradford received his bachelor's in chemical engineering from Ohio University in 1964 and his master's from Northwestern University in 1966. Mike began his career with Ethel Corporation in 1965, working with them for 8 years as a process engineer and an environmental engineer. In 1973, he joined G.R. Stucker and Associates, where he was promoted to chief engineer. From 1977 to 1982, he ran his own consulting firm. Then he joined Jacobs Engineering as the process engineering manager in Baton Rouge. Since 1989, he has been in the position of the environmental engineering manager, where he continues to work part-time. Mike has 70 papers and publications on environmental process engineering topics. His AIChE activities include the position of treasurer of the Baton Rouge section. Significant accomplishments include he authored the NOx reduction chapter in the Encyclopedia of Chemical Technology. He has 18 papers and publications on NOx control. He was twice invited to Washington, D.C. by the EPA to provide updates on the status of NOx control and SO2 scrubbing. Mike and wife Patty have 1 daughter and 2 grandchildren. In college, Mike was a pole vaulter. His hobbies include fishing and travel. He has been to 30 countries and lived in Europe in 1980 and 1981. Mike, congratulations on achieving 50 years of membership. Tim received his bachelor's in chemical engineering at the University of Arizona in 1967 and his master's and doctorate in 1969 and 1973, respectively, at the University of Delaware. He began his career with DuPont in 1973 as a technical services engineer. In 1978, he joined Occidental Petroleum as an R&D manager. He spent the next 32 years in R&D. In 1982, he joined Koch Glitch as a director of R&D, and in 1991 took a position at Perry Equipment Company as an R&D director, moving to Houston in 1992. Tim retired in 2015. However, in retirement, just like the other two, he's stayed busy. He has continued to work full-time as the Chief Technical Officer of EHCL Technology and the Vice President of Technology of Reactive Mass Transfer Technology. Significant accomplishments in his career include he patented a multi-stage isoparaffin alkylation reactor for Sunoco in 1976. He patented, developed, and applied an extraction process for acetic acid and formic acid recovery from wastewater for Glytac Inc. Celanese in 1988. He invented and patented a novel structured packing for Koch Glitch in 1999, and he invented and applied a self-cleaning filter for removal of sand and gel from hydrofrac flowback water for Picofacet in 2012. Tim has written 2 book chapters on mass transfer equipment, has 12 patents, and has had 19 papers published on various chemical engineering topics. Tim and wife Diane have 4 children. Tim's daughter Cheryl has accompanied him at our meeting tonight. Tim enjoys fishing, hunting, woodworking, and gardening. Tim, congratulations on 50 years of membership.
All right, now we'll move to a younger group, K through 12 outreach, and we'll bring up Matt to discuss our K through outreach recognition.
Okay. Well, thanks, everyone. Let's see. Oh, page down. Okay. Okay. Well, first I want to thank the volunteers who helped in the When I Grow Up Career Expo from the Houston Independent School District, which was about 2 weeks ago, and I helped with 3 other people, and we want to briefly give them some applause. Okay. Okay, then we have the, did I overshoot? Page up, no outreach activity, okay. We have the K-12, we have the annual scouting fair coming up this week, this Saturday, and we have come up with volunteers for it. If anyone else would like to volunteer, they can still give me a call. My contact information is there. And finally, The key thing we want to do is our science fair winners. Would Aditya Chunangad come up? Pardon? Yes, Aditya's project was microbial fuel cells, waste energy, part 3. You're a senior, junior in high school. Okay, where do you go to school?
The Woodland College Park.
Very good. We have your official certificate. And I explained the problem. If you could open this before you leave. We have 2 different types of graphing calculators, and I forgot to tell Santa's workshop to package them differently. So, but we talked about that earlier, and if you didn't get the type you want, come see me before you leave.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Shefali Chopra. Shefali? Good. Good. Shefali, her project was crude oil. Can microbes eat it? And you're a senior in high school, and you'll be going to Texas A&M. Very good. And you'll be in engineering management there? Pardon? Business management. Very good. And again, we have your certificate. And if you didn't get the type of calculator you wanted, see if you can straighten it out. Okay. 9th grade, Hakeem Wera, could you come up? Hakeem is a 9th grader in high school, and his project.
He's also the best dressed person here.
Mm-hmm. His project was measuring the sugar content of liquids with a laser. And again, we have a certificate and gift. And congratulations. Again, if you didn't get the calculator type you wanted, come see me. And finally, in the junior high division, Mariana Rodriguez. Her project was Garbage to Garden, and she isn't here tonight, but we'd like to... Oh, you did make it. I'm sorry. Okay. Again, we've got a certificate, and...
You want to take a picture? Yeah. All right, turn on again. We'll take a picture. You'll look back and say, who is that strange man?
Congratulations. Happy to meet you. I'll get a photo of you before you leave, if that's possible. Why don't you see me doing great, coming up soon. And I'll explain about the calculator as well. And let's see, page down. These are some pictures from last year's Boy Scout Fair. Oh, we just got Mariana Rodriguez. We got Hakeem. Yeah. We got Shefali. And oh yeah, there's one. I'm sorry. The summer intern, which is not on here. But Aaron, would you want to come up? Oh, did I miss it? Sorry.
It's there. It's there. Come join us.
No, wrong way. Oh well, sorry. At any rate, Erin is Erin won the summer internship at the Houston Museum of Natural Science. She was selected by Dr. Carolyn Sumners, vice president of the museum, and she'll be doing how many weeks internship? Three-week internship at the museum this summer. And if you could give us a little synopsis of what you did before you leave for the summer, so we can put it in our newsletter and let everybody know what a great job you did. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. What did you do to me here? What did was it written? Yeah,
So you just need to go.
That was a quick meeting, gang. No, keep going.
No, it's
Oh,
hold
okay.
on. It's getting through it. Oh, so this works, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations, okay. All right. All right, so in case you want a summary of our presenters here today, okay, 50-year, got it, okay, I think I'm almost there.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, now it's time for the young professionals, and we're very blessed in this section. Those who come out of the universities, who work in the Houston area, some of them compose our very strong young professionals group of our local section, and they're a very active group. And so I'll call Morgan Reed up to discuss their activities. And I also want to thank Morgan for another reason. Morgan, I think everybody liked the food, so Morgan was the person who scouted out this facility for me, and I'd like to thank Morgan for the work that he did for that, because I'm sure we'll be back here in September. But again, I thank Morgan for all his work. He also got a free dinner out of it, so don't feel so bad at it, so bad for him. So please, come up and talk about the young professionals.
Thanks, Dave. I paid for this dinner. I got a free dinner a couple of weeks ago. It was fantastic. I hope you do like the new venue. We did spend quite a bit of time looking for different places, testing food. That was the hard part. But our YPs, we have a very active group of YPs, and I want to thank all of you, specifically those of you who show up at our happy hours. Now, I know it's tough showing up at a happy hour, getting free drinks, getting free food, having discussions with people like myself. There we go, pictures. We've had fantastic turnout all year. I think our lowest turnout has been about 22 people. And for a small gathering of young professionals, it's quite significant. We have a good time. You can see we went to Dave & Buster's this past Friday. Most of us bowled, not very well, but we bowled. We had a good time. So I want to reiterate that the happy hours are sponsored by the young professionals, but everybody's welcome. We've had quite a few people that are over 35 show up, and they've had a great time as well. So don't feel like it's the young professionals, and if you're not 35 or younger, you can't come. So here's your invitation for our next happy hour or whatever our social event may be. You're more than welcome to come. I just wanted to reiterate that. OTC bag stuffing, I want to thank all of our volunteers that showed up for the OTC bag stuffing. I had a snafu at my office, which is where we held the bag stuffing, and the AC was not on. I'm probably the only one that noticed because I'm a large gentleman and I sweat whenever I start working. But we had about 7 or 8 people. We had 7.5 people. One little guy ate all the candy, and then we sent him home with a Carol, so, sorry about that. But we had a great event. We showed up. We stuffed 400 bags, 150 teacher bags, 250 student bags. We showed up today to pass them out. Had a great turnout at OTC with the students and the teachers. The teachers and the students love it. We've given out some of our extra bags to the families tonight. I hope you enjoy those. They were stuffed with care, so specifically for y'all. On to our next event. So, as I was just saying, we do happy hours. Well, sometimes we'll do social gatherings instead of happy hours. We always get grief for the YPs always having alcohol at their events. So we had a collective meeting with some of the executive committee of the young professionals. We said, let's do something besides just meeting at a bar. And we said, let's go to Pete's Dueling Piano. That's a bar again, I'm sorry. We can't get away from the bar. I'm sorry. So it's going to be May 19th. It's a Friday. And they're open from 10 till whenever you leave. So we'll only pay for something from 7 to 10. So come out. If you do plan on attending, please send an email to STS-AIChE.org. That way we can get a good head count just in case they have seating arrangement issues. So Pete's Dueling Piano Bar. It's going to be a great time. We've had a lot of people tell us about it. Yeah, I heard it's a really great place. The next thing is the Astros game. It's July 14th. I'm putting it out early because last year we purchased 40 tickets, and they went really fast, and we had a lot of people asking, do you have any tickets left? And unfortunately, we didn't. So we upped the tickets to 50 this year. The game starts at 7. Most likely we'll meet beforehand to pass out the tickets. Game's usually over about 10, so that's why I put 7 to 10. But if they go extra innings, don't hold it against me. So I'm putting it out there early. We're going to get a PayPal set up on our website so you can go and pay for the tickets. I think there will be about $25 a ticket, and then the young professionals will subsidize the rest of it. And with that, I think we're done with the YP announcements.
I'm the one that kids them about alcohol, but again, it is a great group of individuals who really have the local section at heart, and we're really proud to have them a part of our local section. And they are the future, and that's why they're so important to us. Before I invite our sponsor up for their 60 seconds of shameless plug, this is a very unique meeting, and I want to just point out that what you saw tonight is the wide breadth of what this section offers. You saw that we went from the high schools to college to our 50-year members, and you saw the breadth of activities of this local section. This is a really unique and special night to show you the kinds of things we do, the outreach with STEM and other programs in our section, and we're really, really proud to provide that to our local membership. So again, this was a really unique and a great evening. It will continue to be a great evening for our presenter, but I just want to at least point out about the breadth of outreach that we have at our local section. Okay, now, as every agreement is with our sponsor, we provide them 60 seconds of shameless plug. So now I'll invite Jenny to come up from Province Consulting, and I have the stopwatch and the clock. All right, then so 60 seconds of shameless plug.
Thank you. Well, we are very excited to be here tonight. Page down. Oh, thank you. Providence Consulting has been very involved with AICHE at the national level for a number of years. Some of you may be familiar with our free live webinars that we've given, partnered with AICHE Academy. We've been doing that since about 2014. Or perhaps some of you have run into one of our engineers at a Dyers event or seen us at an AICHE annual conference. But this is our very first STS event to sponsor, and we're so glad to be here. Tonight's extra special for us because our very own Rahul is giving tonight's presentation. Don't know where Rahul is right now. Ah, there you are. So we're here to support him tonight, but Providence Consulting is a process safety management consulting company. Many of you probably are already aware, but we provide services that fall under OSHA standard to our clients. And these things include hazard assessments, PHAs, mechanical integrity program implementation, and something that many of you are probably very familiar with is our relief systems design and evaluation team. We have a handful of our engineers here tonight at this back table. And so I would invite you, after Rahul gives his presentation tonight, if you have any questions or would like to chat with some of our engineers, you can visit them there in the back. And we also have a cocktail table set out somewhere with some of our brochures if you'd like more information or just a way to access our website after this evening. Thank you so much.
Okay, we are now at our break. Now you know why I started you at 6:45 for dinner. We just had a lot of announcements to get through and a lot of recognition. So 10 minutes, we will start the presentation in 10 minutes, so please be back in your seats in 10 minutes. I have 8:16. 8:26, we will start. Thank you.
Before everybody runs out, we have one more announcement. If this is your first time to an AICHE dinner or a new member, if you'd come over here to the corner, we have bags, and I can pass out more bags to you if you'd like.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please return to our seats? Can we please return to our seats? I want to get you out of here by 9:30, so please return to your seat. What? That's why I started this meeting as quickly as I could so we could get out on time. All right, let me start with the introduction, please. I will. Just give me just one more minute. I'd like to get started. That's all right. They'll come in. All right, it's really my pleasure to introduce our speaker this evening. In fact, Raul was, he actually volunteered for this spot way back. I think almost 5 to 6 months ago, which I really appreciated because I think one of my successes this year was getting all the speakers arranged by November. So I didn't have to search for a speaker at the last moment. So again, I really appreciate the early volunteers. So let me first introduce Raul to you. Raul Rahman is a PSM consultant from Province Consulting, where he helps clients in achieving cost-effective PSM compliance. He provides PSM consulting services to the oil and gas industry, provides technical stewardship, and a subject matter expert for pressure relief systems. He has extensive experience in PSI audits, change to relief system due to management of change, revalidation of process units, and two-phase flow analysis. In addition, he is an instructor for AIChE Basic Emergency Relief System Design course. He has actively participated and contributed in the Design Institute for Emergency Relief Systems, DIRES, and an API subcommittee for pressure relieving systems. He completed his master's in chemical engineering degree from Carnegie Mellon University, although I'm from Philadelphia, I'll accept that at this point, and obtained a Bachelor of Technology in Chemical Engineering from Anna University. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Raul Rahman from Province Consulting.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank David for the wonderful introduction, and I would also like to thank AIChE STS section, and a special thanks to Deborah McCall, if she's here. She's the one who had nominated me to present in the South Texas section. So before we get ahead, I have a pointer here. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so before we start, I want to get to know my audience. So I would like to have a show of hands for people who have experience in compliance audits or who have been involved in compliance audits. With incident investigation. Okay. Mechanical integrity. A show of hands for management of change and pre-startup safety review. Whoa, okay. Process hazard analysis. All right. So for those of you who have still not raised your hands, this may be a good TED Talk. And hopefully this inspires you to become an emergency relief system designer, or you can sleep. So before we get started, I want to start with a cartoon. So, there is a pressure vessel which is about to explode. And then one guy says to the other guy, hey, maybe instead of buying a giant gauge, we should have spent the money on relief valves. And that's what he says. And they are trying to run away from this explosion. So it seems right? I mean, just think about it. It seems right that we have to spend our money on designing a relief valve and installing a relief valve. But is that all we should need to do? What else can we do more? And that brings me to my overview. So I have sanitized this presentation and made sure that there are no equations. And the first topic that we are going to talk about is why perform emergency relief system design. Talk about compliance audits. There is going to be a main focus on how to get synergy between ERS design and process hazard analysis. Talk about the impact of mechanical integrity of pressure relief devices. You want to make sure that once you have specified your relief device, it is working for you when the demand occurs. Impact of PRDs due to management of change and pre-startup safety review. Incident investigation. And then final closing remarks. In essence, it's an overlap. The main presentation is going to be on ERS design and intersection with these PSM elements. ERS design actually affects all PSM elements, but I'm going to limit my scope to the following pieces of PSM elements. So let's start. Why do we do ERS design? Now, the main purpose of doing an ERS design, emergency relief system design, is to prevent catastrophic disassembly of a pressure vessel. So when you have a pressure vessel in your facility, it's going to experience pressure excursion, and the pressure excursion can lead to an explosion, and this explosion may cause harm to people, can also have fatalities. You also want to protect your property. It's important that we make sure that the assets are protected. And finally, you do not want to have negative environmental consequences to this planet. So the main reason is to prevent catastrophic disassemblies of pressure vessel and to keep it safe. So the next question is going to be, how do we achieve safety? We can achieve safety by being compliant. So as you know, many of us are building pressure vessels to the ASME boiler and pressure vessel code. So one such pressure vessel code is the ASME Section 8 Division 1, which is widely used in the oil and gas industry. You want to make sure that you follow ASME because ASME is law in many states. For example, Section 1, ASME Section 1, boiler law is a law in the state of Texas. Let's look at the other end of the spectrum, low pressure. So that is the Code of Construction, API 620 and 650. This is the Code of Construction for low pressure tanks. We should not be swayed by the term low pressure because even though they are low pressure, they can have very dangerous consequences. There have been recent incidents that has become a wake-up call for us. The incident in West Texas, the incident in Caribbean Petroleum Corporation. So all of these remind us that low pressure should also be taken very seriously. So once you know what your code of construction is, then you can use the consensus standards and the industry standards. You can use API 520, 521, API 2000, and DIRES. DIRES is Design Institute of Emergency Relief Systems. How many of you have heard about DIRES? Oh, a lot of us have heard about DIRES. It's an organization within AICHE under the CCPS umbrella. A lot of great work happens in DIRES. A lot of work that has been published in DIRES is now used in API. So it's a great way to size your relief devices. And finally, once you know once you are able to have compliance, you should be technically correct. So what does technically correct mean? So we have to ask ourselves a question when we are designing an emergency relief system. Do I use the ideal gas specific heat ratio or do I use the real gas specific heat ratio? What type of fire flux equation do I use, the adequate drainage or the inadequate drainage? So there are a lot of questions that you need to ask, right? So the way, a simple term to choose the correct model and to choose the correct equations, it can be summed up in this term called recognized and generally accepted good engineering practice. In short, it's called RAGAGAP. So you want to make sure that you choose the right model, choose the right equations, and you follow RAGAGAP. Remember that RAGAGAP is a legal term. It's a legal term, and I'm going to show you in a few slides why this is very important that we choose technical correctness. So once we are safe, once we are compliant, and once we are choosing the technically correct model, then our ERS document becomes a document which is auditable by OSHA. So let's look at what OSHA requires us to do. So as many of you are aware, the PSM standard, which is Process Safety Management Standard, is from OSHA 29 CFR Part 1910-119. So I have taken an excerpt from this standard. So here it says, the employer shall complete a compilation of written safety information which shall include relief system design and design basis. So where does this come under the PSM standard? It comes under the section of process safety information. So the PSM standard requires us to have relief system design and design basis. To truly understand the depth of this statement, let's look at what the compliance program says. So the compliance program, which you can obtain online. So if you type in OSHA compliance program CPL 2245A, it's essentially a checklist. It's a checklist which asks questions with a simple yes or no answer. And this can be used for performing audit, an OSHA audit. So under the section process safety information, let's look at one of the questions that is there. Is information included pertaining to equipment in the process, and does it include relief system design and design basis? So this is actually a question that the OSHA auditor can ask. And then the next question here, has the employee documented that equipment complies with recognized, generally accepted good engineering practice? Review the documentation for the evidence that complies with appropriate consensus standards has been researched. Now we have these documents, API 620, API 521, DIRS, NFPA, ASME, but they are all generic standards. Now all of us have facilities which are having very unique business needs. So therefore, all of us have to do a lot of research, and sometimes you might have to develop internal standards that can be used as RAGAGAP, and you want to make sure that you are following good engineering practice. And that's why RAGAGAP is a legal term. Let's look at one more question. So here it says, based on interviews with a representative number of engineers, you can interview them about the technical basis for relief device sizes. So OSHA can come and interview people and ask them about, hey, why did you size this device? What is the size of this device? What is the technical basis for this device? So they can ask these questions to engineers. So even though the term is your engineer, it does not necessarily mean a person who has graduated from a 4-year degree from a university. It's any person who can answer the process questions, who knows the nuances and the complexity of the process. So let's assume that you guys are all OSHA inspectors and I am the facility, and you're going to come and interview me and ask me that, hey, do you have your relief system design and design basis? And let's say for this question I'm going to answer no. What is going to happen? What are you going to do as an OSHA inspector? Fine you, shut you down. Those are all great answers. They are all correct answers. Any other answers? Citation. So one of the things that you get when you are not in compliance is a citation. So here is the OSHA citation press release. Here it says, failure to include relief system design and design basis in process safety information as required by the PSM standard. So you can get a citation. And if you're still not complying, then you get a willful citation. And then, just the dollar amount keeps going up. So why do we do pressure safety? The first and foremost reason, to make sure that we are safe. To make sure that the second reason, make sure that we are compliant. Third reason, to make sure that we are using technically correct models, we are choosing the right models, and we are making sure that your entire ERS document is an OSHA auditable document. So that's the main reason why we do pressure safety. Now I would like to talk about the first element, compliance audit. So I've seen that there were a couple of hands going around where we have seen that they are experienced in compliance audit. Per the PSM standard, you have to do a compliance audit every 3 years. This is especially important when you're doing an ERS compliance audit. For that, you would require an ERS designer or any process engineer who is having ERS expertise. It's a very, very important tool to identify systemic issues and perform gap assessments. This can really point out what are all the bad apples in your programs and bad apples in your workflows. In order to do this, you require a sample size. So you can review a sample representative number of relief devices, say 5%, 10%, 15% of your relief devices. Or you can audit the ERS documents of an entire unit. Or you can audit specific design based on changing regulatory framework. So as you know, ASME, API, NFPA, that is a review cycle for these documents, and the standards get changed, and you can actually go to your facility and screen your documents to make sure that they are evergreen and they are adapting to the changing regulatory framework. The next 3 points that I'm going to talk about is a thing that you want to add in your compliance audit if you're going to do ERS design. What are they? Ensure set pressure does not exceed maximum allowable working pressure. So maximum allowable working pressure is a term used in ASME to represent the design pressure of your equipment. So that's the maximum pressure that you want to allow, which is the safe limit of operation for your pressure vessel. So if your MAWP is 100 psig, you want to make sure that at least one of your relief devices which is protecting the pressure vessel is equal to the set pressure. So in this case, it should be 100 psig and below. It cannot exceed 100 psig. So you want to make this part, if you have a compliance audit, I know many of you perform internal compliance audits, you want to add this as one of your bullet points in your audit. The other thing that you want to check is ensure available installed area exceeds the maximum required area of the worst credible scenario. So let me explain these terms. Available installed area is basically the PSV area that you have installed on your system, and then maximum required area of the worst credible scenario. So let's say that a system has 5 scenarios, 5 overpressure scenarios. You calculate the required area for each scenario. The scenario which has the highest maximum orifice area becomes your worst credible scenario. So therefore, you want to make sure that your PSV is greater than the area that you calculated for your worst credible scenario. And then finally, check the status of your recommendation. So if your ERS document says that, hey, your system is inadequate, you want to make sure that there are any mitigation plan, is there any risk plan, or if it says that the inlet and outlet isolation valves need to be car sealed open, we are going to make sure that the administrative controls are in place and the inlet and outlet isolation valves in the field are actually car sealed opened. So just to give you a hint, if you don't follow these 3 bullet points, kaboom. So you want to make sure that you have this part of your compliance audit, and you make sure that you enforce them. And if you see these things in your audits, you really know that you have a systemic issue or a gap assessment that you need to fill. So most of this is from a perspective of an auditor. Most of you are probably an auditee. So you want to go back to your facility and check if you have these in your audit program. The next PSM element that I'm going to talk about is process hazard analysis. This PSM element is very close to me, and I want to talk about this using an analogy. The main success of an ERS designer is measured by high accuracy and high precision due to the design of emergency relief system design precisely. So you want to make sure that you are bang on the money, right in the center. That's the main goal. That's how you're measuring success. As a PHA facilitator and a PHA team, your success is measured by accuracy of identifying all scenarios and proper risk ranking, the ability to recognize hidden hazards. So as you can see here in the picture, if you are a PHA team or if you are a team member or if you are the facilitator, you do not want to miss any hazard, right? You want to make sure that you have identified all hazard. You never want to miss the target. That's very important. That's a big distinction between the way the success is measured. Now, to drive the point home, there we go. I'm going to talk about the ERS designer's perspective on how we can have high precision and low accuracy by improper identification of scenarios. You have not done the heat and material balance properly. The initiating event is not correct. You have taken credit for basic process control, which you should not. In most cases, you are not allowed to take credit for basic process control. So those are many methods and many errors that a process engineer or an ERS designer can make. And you want to avoid this. This is typically achieved by gaining a lot of experience. Your ERS document has missed a PHA identified scenario. As an ERS designer and as a process engineer who's doing ERS design, you want to review your PHA notes, especially the high pressure notes for each node, because that is going to give you a well-documented scenario of all the high pressure and low pressures that you have for your process. And then you can use that for your scenario rationale in the ERS document. So it works both ways. The ERS designer should consult with the PHA and the PHA notes, and then the PHA also should consult with the ERS designer. Another major point where we can definitely get low accuracy and high precision is because of incorrect sizing methodologies or incorrect application of tools. Now, all of the sizing methodologies are pretty standard. The equations are there. There are really no changes in the equations. They have been around for a long time. And that's why you are getting a very high precision. So then where is the mistake? The mistake is in selecting the wrong model. Because of the increase in computation, people are not doing any more hand calculations, and they are doing their calculations using relief system software. And if you select the improper model from either API or DIRES, you are going to again miss the target. The main success in an ERS designer is to hit the target in the middle. You can also miss the target by incorrect process safety information. If you do not have your MAWP or incorrect MAWP, if your set pressure is not right, if you have isometrics which are not correct, all of that can result in, again, low accuracy. And then performed by inexperienced professionals. All of us are chemical engineers here, or most of us are chemical engineers here. ERS design is not typically taught in college level curriculum. It is still largely a craft which is learned on the job. And it is important that if you're giving this task to a new engineer, you have some amount of oversight or some amount of quality assurance and quality control. This can be achieved by having a much more senior engineer or a person with ERS design expertise to review their work. So you want to make sure that you do all of this to make sure that you hit the target. Now let's look at an example. So I want to talk about this incident in T2 Laboratories. This is a facility which was producing specialty chemicals in Jacksonville, Florida. And they've created gasoline additives in a reactor which had cooling water in its jacket. And the owners of the companies were chemical engineers, and they were pretty smart because they were able to come up with this technology. But they kept increasing the throughput. They kept increasing the throughput without any hazard review. And what happened is, because it's a chemical reaction, as you keep increasing the throughput, the rate of reaction is going to go up, and they lost cooling to the reactor, and an explosion occurred. So this actually killed 4 people, and as you see, one of the key issues identified was hazard identification and chemical reactive hazards. So you want to make sure that if you are making any change to your process, especially a throughput change for a chemical reactive hazard, you do a thorough emergency relief system design. Now, in the last monthly meeting, we had an example on the William Geismar incident. One of the key issues, again, that was brought about was overpressure protection and process hazard analysis. So in order to look at this incident in detail, I have a schematic representation that I had taken from the CSB report. So this is a propylene fractionator, and this propylene fractionator has a reboiler, a condenser, an accumulator, and 2 reboilers. And it also has a PSV in the overhead line. And they actually had an MOC initiated in 2001. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to put isolation valves in the reboilers. The original intent of the designer was to use both reboilers at the same time, but they wanted to have continuous operation, and because of that, they installed these isolation valves, and they used 1 reboiler at a time. So this hazard was created in 2001 when they introduced this isolation valve, and if the reboiler is in service, you're introducing heat, and the heat is going to vaporize that propylene and cause an overpressure. So now let's look at what happened after that MOC was initiated in 2001. So there was a PHA that they conducted in 2001. So they said, the PHA said, blocking of outlet valve is only a process upset. It's not an overpressure hazard. And they also said that they did not actually identify the overpressure. 5 years later, there was a PHA which was conducted in 2006. They identified the overpressure due to blocked outlet, and they recommended to car seal open the valve to take credit for the column PSV. So they wanted to make sure that you CSO this valve so that you can take credit for this PSV. So car seal open is basically, it's a plastic that you put on the valve to ensure that nobody can close it. So that's a car seal. So they wanted to make sure that it's open so that they can take credit for the PSV. In 2010, some person decided that, let's close the action item and consider it done. That's an implementation error. They didn't go to the field and car seal open this valve. They didn't change the PNID, and they just assumed that this is done. In 2011, 5 years later, a PHA again identified the scenario, and what they did is they took credit on the 2010 action item. They said that, hey, there is an action item to car seal open these valves, and let's consider it done. In 2013, somebody isolated the valve, somebody introduced the heat, and the explosion occurred. So what could the PHA team done? First, in the 2001 PHA, they actually they missed the target. In the 2001 PHA, if they had identified this as an overpressure scenario, there could have been a possibility to immediately take action because the MOC was done on the same year. So they could have taken some amount of action to make sure that the valve was car seal open. You want to make sure that as the PHA team, you take the lead. You delegate it to the people who are doing ERS design. So you want to review the ERS design. If the PHA says that we can car seal open this valve and take credit for this PSV, go review the ERS document. See if the ERS document has sized the valve for the reboiler case. Check for assumptions and special considerations. Again, you can open the ERS document, see how they have done it. Have they considered only one reboiler working at a time? So have they considered 2 reboilers working at the same time? There is a big difference in the results that you get. And if they have taken both reboilers working at the same time, and if this PSV is adequate, then they can use that as a safeguard. Consult with the ERS designer for any new hazards potentially identified. So they can take the lead and tell your process engineer or your ERS designer to go and document this new hazard in their ERS document. And consider discharge location. So if there are hydrocarbons being introduced into the atmosphere due to your relief valve, you want to request a dispersion analysis from your ERS designers and just look at their assumptions in your wind speed, wind direction. Also look at if there are any ignition sources in the way of the plume. So these are all things that the PHA team and the PHA facilitator can demand from the ERS designer. So ultimately, the main point that I want to drive across is that there should be a synergy between the ERS designer and the PHA team. In fact, they work hand in hand to do a thorough overpressure hazard review. When we work together, we can produce and go and hit the target correctly. The next element that I want to talk about is management of change and pre-startup safety review. So if you are the MOC coordinator in your facility, you want to involve the ERS personnel early in the design. Remember that the hazard in the William Geismar incident was created in 2001, but the incident occurred in 2013. So you want to involve your ERS designer early in the design process. In fact, if you have a capacity expansion project or if you have a large project, involve your ERS designer because it can save you a lot of cost downstream, and if there are any design changes, you can do it upfront. Now I realize that not all management of changes would require an ERS designer, so you can have a set of screening questionnaires during the initiation to have the necessary experts involved. It can be change in operating conditions, change in throughput, change in material of construction, change in the operating limits. So all of this can be an initiation and a set of questionnaires for involving your ERS designer. Once you know that we have to involve due to an overpressure hazard, make sure that the synergy is there between PHA and ERS for a thorough hazards review. And if you are introducing new relief devices, notify your mechanical integrity engineers to add new relief devices to your reliability program. And then more on this on the slides to come. When you do a PSSR, PSSR is done right after management of change. It is done in a checklist. The PSSR, that the bullet points that I'm going to talk about is something that you would like to add in your field walk-down checklist. This is typically done in the end of the PSSR. You want to make sure that you have proper inlet and outlet sizes. It matches with your specification sheet. Your installation matches your isometric and PNID. It seems obvious that you should have the PNID should match the installation, but oftentimes we see that this does not happen. Does the model match the specification sheet? This one is very important, inlet and outlet pipe to be plumb and level. So here is a case. This is an incident that I want to describe. So the outlet flange of the relief valve and the outlet pipe was not in the same plumb and level. They were actually having a mismatch. This resulted in a leak, and what happened is that one of the employees on top of a column got hit with hydrogen sulfide. Nothing happened, but this would have become a serious incident if the release of hydrogen was a lot more. So you want to make sure that the plumb and level, both for your inlet pipe and your outlet pipe, is appropriate. Remember that your relief device discharges are at very, very high vibrations. So you want to make sure that the alignment is proper to avoid any vibration risks and also leaks. make sure that gaskets are installed. If there are inlet and outlet isolation valves, make them car sealed open or locked open. So in this diagram, you can see that there is an outlet isolation valve, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but there is actually a yellow color plastic which is tied around the isolation valve to ensure that nobody can actually close it. And then you want to have stamped devices. What do I mean by stamped is ASME pressure vessels require that you have certified relief devices. Certified relief devices have an ASME stamp on their nameplates. You want to make sure that your nameplate is stamped. I also want to talk about low pressure relief devices. As you can see, this is a very sweet installation. And low pressure relief devices, the set point is dependent on the weight that you put on top of them. This is a lot of weight on such a low vent. So these are also called mushroom vents. If you see such a thing in your mushroom vents, please make sure that you clean it, because it's not going to open at the desired set pressure. It's going to be way, way above the set pressure. The next element that I'm going to talk about is mechanical integrity. As an ERS designer, you want to make sure that you make your mechanical integrity engineer's life easy by specifying the correct relief device with a detailed model number. Nowadays, your relief device comes with a detailed model number like around 15 to 20 characters. It can actually tell you what is the size, what is the inlet size, what is the outlet size, what is the inlet flange rating, outlet flange rating, material of construction. It can give you a lot of information. So giving a detailed model number makes the job of your mechanical integrity very easy, because they can specify your relief valves easily and also order spare parts. Select non-fragmenting rupture discs for relief valve isolation. The important word here is non-fragmenting. If you use a fragmenting rupture disc, it's when it bursts, it is going to split into very tiny particles. And when you are going to use it upstream of a relief valve, it's going to damage your internal parts of your relief valve. So you want to make sure that you select a non-fragmenting rupture disc. It may seem obvious that you have to install relief device in the vertical upright position, but I have seen installations where they have installed it upside down at an angle. Why do they do this? Because there is no space, or they take shortcuts. So please make sure that you don't do this in your facility. And then as an ERS designer, you also want to make your mechanical integrity engineer's life easy by specifying a telltale pressure gauge or some type of a pressure indicator between the pressure relief valve and rupture disc. So this is a rupture disc and this is the relief valve. This here is called the telltale pressure gauge. Here you can see that there is some amount of pressure. What does that mean? That means that there is either a pinhole leak or there is a pressure excursion that has occurred which has led to a relief event. So why is this important? You have to monitor the space with this pressure gauge because rupture discs are differential pressure relief devices, which means that if I have a pinhole leak, the pressure upstream is the same as the pressure downstream. This is a dangerous situation and the rupture disc won't burst at your burst pressure, which means that the pressure excursion can go above your MAWP. So you want to make sure that you are specifying the telltale pressure gauge to ensure the mechanical integrity of your pressure vessel and your pressure relief valve. Now, as a mechanical integrity engineer, you want to consult with your ERS designer when there is a change of relief device. You know, it's turnaround time, and we are not getting, we have a short lead time or a long lead time, and therefore we are going to change the manufacturer. Please consult your ERS designer because the orifice areas change between some of the vendors. If there is a change in the model of the relief valve, so if you are going to upgrade your material from stainless steel to Hastelloy, for these type of things, please make sure that you consult your ERS engineer. Root cause analysis of failed inspection. So sometimes relief devices can fail, even though they are actually very good, but sometimes they can fail. If they have failed, please go consult your ERS designer and perform a thorough root cause analysis. Setting and modifying inspection frequencies. You want to make sure that if you are increasing your inspection frequencies, you consult with your ERS designer and your process hazard analysis to really look at the risks involved. If you see excessive corrosion, plugging, and fouling, if you have this type of a service, involve your ERS designer upfront and also your materials engineer who can help you in choosing the correct material of construction. I'm going to talk about a traditional type of relief device. So there are two traditional relief devices, a conventional valve and a bellows valve. So here is a picture from the field. This is actually a bellows sealed pressure relief valve. They have confirmed that. And then it says here that, I don't know if you can read it, but it says the bellows sealed safety valve. Ensure plug is removed from the bonnet. So those of you who don't know, this section of the relief valve is called the bonnet. And this here is the bonnet plug. So for a bellows pressure relief valve, you want to make sure that the bonnet plug is removed. Because if you put this bonnet plug, then there is going to be some back pressure issues that you will face. And then for a conventional relief valve, this bonnet should be plugged. So make sure that your MI engineers know about this, and your MI technicians, the technicians on the field, they also know about this. My final PSM element is going to be incident investigation, and I want to start with a quote. It is widely recognized now that you should investigate near misses or near accidents as thoroughly as you investigate an accident. It is only a matter of luck before a flammable gas liquid catches fire, by Dr. Trevor Keltz. And I want to talk about null and void investigations, especially if you have a relief event, or if you have a pressure excursion and your rupture disc blew up. What happens is, in my personal experience, you face hostile interviews due to poor process safety culture. People are not willing to talk to you. People are not going to give you answers. If you are part of the leadership and management, you want to make sure that you promote process safety culture. This is you often experience this in dysfunctional process safety facilities. You want to make sure that root cause analysis is performed by an expert who knows tools like 5Y, cause and effect analysis. The learnings are not shared. You can do a great incident investigation, but if the learnings are not shared, then it becomes moot. So you want to make sure that all of them are trained. Recommendations are not enforced. And then finally, missing information in the final report. Doing compliance for compliance reason. If you are going to have an incident investigation meeting at 11 o'clock and lunch is around the corner, and you have a 2-page investigation report that you need to fill, so you don't just want to fill it because you are doing it for compliance reasons. You want to really do a thorough incident investigation. My closing remarks, I want to go back to my cartoon. Now, it did seem like we have to spend our money on designing the relief valve, but it may not be the only option that is there at our disposal. It may not be the best option, the feasible option, and most importantly, the safe option. PSM is a series of interwoven programs which act as a check and balance to make us safe. We should not look at them as departments, and rather we have to look at them as chemical engineers, mechanical engineers, process safety and risk management professionals who have to interact with each other. Ultimately, it is an integrated PSM mindset. All of us here are chemical engineers who know to build, design, and operate plants. but an ERS designer or a process engineer with ERS design is an engineer who does the design for the process upset case, the equipment failure case, in fact, designs it for the worst credible case. And that is why pressure relief devices are indeed the last line of defense. Before I sign off, I would like to say, may the 4th be with you. And I would like to answer any questions that you have.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Considering the lateness of the hour, 1 or 2 questions. Anybody? 1 or 2 questions. Anybody? Questions? Anybody? Anybody? You're so good that they don't have any questions.
Thank you.
All right. Last call. All right. Before you leave, we have a gift for you.
Thank you.
At least I think. Yes? Okay. You have your very own clicker.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Let me come down.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. And don't forget, our next meeting is our Ship Channel Tour on the 3rd of June. And then we are back here in September on the 7th. Safe travels, drive safely, and thank you for being here. It's Star Wars Day. Because it's May 4th. It's May 4th. They call it Star Wars Day.
I think this is the clicker, so good. They were all set. I can make sure you have the right thing. Fantastic. Yeah. All right. Is it?
All right. Thanks again.
Okay, thank you so much.
My pleasure.